Welcome to the channel, your space for growth, clarity, and real change. If you find value here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so more people can grow with us. If you're ready to break old patterns, build a stronger mindset, and become the best version of yourself, you're in the right place. Before we begin the story, let's understand the 10 times 3 manifestation technique properly, because most people misunderstand it. What is 10 times 3 technique? The 10 times 3 manifestation technique is simple in structure. You write a clear intention 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the afternoon, 10 times at night, for a consistent period, usually 7 to 21 days. What it actually does, it helps you focus your attention repeatedly, reinforce a specific belief, increase awareness of your behavior, improve decision making. How it works: when you repeat a statement multiple times daily, your brain starts recognizing patterns. You become more aware of related actions. You pause before making decisions. Your habits slowly shift. Example of a good statement: I will be rich, too vague. I consistently manage my money responsibly and build savings step by step. The 3 core principles: clarity, clear, realistic statement. Consistency, daily repetition, 10 times 3. Action alignment, behavior must match intention. What if writing one sentence 30 times a day could change the way you make decisions? Not instantly, not magically, but in a way that quietly reshapes your life. Mark lived in Sydney. His life was structured: work, commute, bills, repeat. Every month followed the same pattern. Money came in and slowly disappeared. Nothing dramatic, no big mistakes, just small, repeated habits. Coffee here, takeout there, subscriptions he forgot about. At the end of every month, he asked the same question: where did it all go? One night, Mark opened his bank app again. He stared at the balance, then at the transactions, then back at the balance. For the first time, he didn't feel frustrated. He felt curious. What am I missing? Because deep down, he knew something wasn't right. A week later, he met his friend John. They hadn't spoken in months, but something about John felt different. Not richer, not flashy, but calm. Mark asked, "Did something change?" John smiled. "Yes, my habits." John explained, "I started using something called the 10 times 3 technique." Mark laughed. "That sounds like one of those online trends." John nodded. "It is simple, but it works if you do it properly." John leaned forward. "You write one statement 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the afternoon, 10 times at night. And then what?" Mark asked. "Then you live according to it." Before Mark could get excited, John added, "This won't make money appear. It won't fix everything overnight, but it will change how you think. And that changes everything else." Mark decided to try. He wrote, "I manage my money wisely and build savings consistently. Morning, 10 times. Afternoon, 10 times. Night, 10 times." At first, it felt pointless. By the 7th repetition, "This is boring." By the 15th, "This won't work." By the 25th, "I'm wasting time." But he finished all 30. Nothing changed that day. No money appeared. No sudden clarity. But something small happened. He noticed his spending. For the first time, he paused. The writing felt easier, still repetitive, but less forced. That evening, he almost ordered food online, something he did regularly. But then a thought appeared: I managed my money wisely. He paused, closed the app, not because he had to, but because he noticed. By day 3, the sentence wasn't just in the notebook. It was in his mind, at the store, on his phone, while making decisions, and slowly, his behavior started changing. After a week, Mark noticed something unusual. He had money left. Not a lot, but more than usual. And for the first time, it felt intentional. The first week ended quietly. No dramatic breakthrough. No sudden transformation. But something subtle had changed. Mark noticed things he had never paid attention to before. Not just his spending, but his thinking. On Monday morning, he sat at his desk again, notebook open, pen in hand. He didn't hesitate this time. He began writing, I managed my money wisely and built savings consistently 10 times. But this time, he wasn't forcing it. He was observing it. The words felt different now. Not exciting, not powerful, but normal. And that's where the real shift begins. Because when something becomes normal, your brain stops resisting it. Morning session done. Afternoon session, he almost forgot. But then something interesting happened. Without even looking at his notebook, the sentence appeared in his mind, like a reminder. He smiled slightly and wrote the next 10. By the end of day 8, Mark realized something important. He wasn't just writing the sentence anymore. He was thinking it automatically. And that's when behavior starts changing, without effort. But change doesn't happen without resistance. On day 9, Mark had a long day at work. Deadlines, pressure, mental exhaustion. That evening, his routine felt like a burden. He looked at his notebook and thought, I'll skip today. Just one day. No big deal. This moment was small, but critical, because habits are not built on perfect days. They are built on days when you don't feel like continuing. Mark sat quietly. He didn't feel motivated. He didn't feel inspired, but he picked up the pen anyway and wrote 1, 2, 3, not because he wanted to, but because he decided to. By the 10th line, nothing magical happened, but something important did. He proved to himself, I can stay consistent even when I don't feel like it. And that belief is more powerful than motivation. By day 10, the technique started revealing deeper patterns. Mark noticed something uncomfortable. He wasn't just spending out of habit. He was spending based on emotions. Stress spend, boredom spend, convenience spend. The writing didn't change his income. It exposed his behavior. That night, Mark wrote something new in his notebook. My spending is not random, it is predictable. And that realization changed everything, because predictable behavior can be improved. The next morning, Mark added something simple. After writing his 10 lines, he spent 5 minutes reviewing his expenses. Nothing complex, just awareness. What did I spend yesterday? Why did I spend it? And slowly, patterns became clearer. Before, Mark's decisions were automatic. Now, there was a gap, a pause. And in that pause, he had a choice. One evening, he walked into a store, saw something he liked, picked it up, and then paused. That pause didn't exist before. He asked himself, do I need this? He put it back. Not because he couldn't afford it, but because he chose not to. This wasn't restriction. It was control. And that distinction matters. Because restriction feels forced. Control feels intentional. Not every day felt productive. On day 12, doubt returned. This is too simple. This can't really change anything. And that thought was valid because the results were still small. That evening, Mark reflected. He realized something important. He wasn't trying to change his life in 1 week. He was changing his habits. And habits take time. Instead of asking, "Is this working?" he asked, "Am I becoming more aware?" And the answer was yes. On day 13, something subtle but powerful happened. Mark received his salary. Earlier, this moment always felt temporary. Relief followed by disappearance. But this time, he did something different. He paused. Before spending anything, he planned. He divided his income, essentials, savings, personal spending, simple, clear, intentional. And for the first time, his money had direction. That night, Mark felt something new. Not excitement, not pride, but calm. Because clarity reduces stress. 2 weeks completed. Mark looked back. Had he become wealthy? No. Had his income changed? Not significantly. But something far more important had changed. He was no longer ignoring his finances, acting impulsively, feeling lost. He was aware, intentional, in control. If you're watching this, think about this. Do you control your money, or does your behavior control you? Because that difference defines your future. At the end of week 2, Mark made a decision. He wouldn't stop because he understood something now. The 10 times 3 technique was not about writing. It was about training his mind. And his mind was finally changing. The first 2 weeks didn't change Mark's life, but they changed his direction. And once direction changes, results follow. By the start of week 3, something had changed in Mark. He was no longer asking, "Where did my money go?" Instead, a new question appeared. How can I improve my financial situation? Step by step. It wasn't driven by frustration. It was driven by clarity. And that shift changed everything. So far, Mark had focused on managing spending, building awareness, creating structure. But now, he was ready for the next level. Growth, not fast growth, not risky growth, but responsible, sustainable improvement. That morning, Mark made a small but important change. He kept his original statement, but added a second one. Morning 10 times. I manage my money wisely and build savings consistently. Afternoon 10 times. I increase my income through responsible and consistent effort. Night 10 times. I make thoughtful financial decisions that support my future. Now, the 10 times 3 technique had direction, awareness, growth, decision making. Before, his focus was only on control. Now, it included creation, because managing money is one skill, but growing it requires another. Within a few days, Mark noticed something subtle. His attention had shifted again. At work, he began noticing tasks others avoided, areas where he could contribute more, opportunities to learn new skills. These things were always there. But earlier, he never paid attention. The 10 times 3 technique didn't create opportunities. It made him aware of them. And awareness is what turns ordinary situations into growth. One afternoon, Mark volunteered for an additional task at work, not because he had to, but because he saw it as an opportunity to learn. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't glamorous, but it was different. At first, the extra effort felt uncomfortable. Longer hours, more responsibility, more focus. But instead of resisting it, he stayed consistent. Because his mindset had changed, he wasn't looking for easy options anymore. He was building long-term stability. A few days later, Mark faced a familiar situation. Scrolling through his phone, he saw an ad, "Earn fast income with minimal effort." Earlier, this would have caught his attention. But now, he paused. Instead of reacting, he asked himself, is this realistic? Is this clear and transparent? Does this align with long-term growth? The answers were obvious. No clear details, unrealistic promises, no explanation of risk. He closed the ad. That decision didn't earn him money, but it protected him, and that matters. Because avoiding poor decisions is just as important as making good ones. Weeks passed. Mark continued. His 10 times 3 writing, his daily awareness, his consistent effort, and slowly, small changes appeared. More confidence at work, better decision-making, improved focus. One day, his manager noticed, "You've been more proactive lately." That feedback was simple, but meaningful because it reflected something real. A few weeks later, Mark received something unexpected, an opportunity, a chance to take on additional responsibilities with slightly higher pay. It wasn't a big promotion, but it was progress. Earlier, Mark would have doubted himself. Am I ready? What if I fail? But now, his thinking was different. I can learn, I can adapt, and he accepted the opportunity. The new role wasn't easy. It required more focus, more responsibility, better time management. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, he approached it step by step. Because his mindset supported him, his confidence didn't come from success. It came from consistency. He trusted himself because he showed up every day. With slightly higher income, Mark faced another test. Spend more or manage better? The old pattern would say, more money equals more spending. But now, he chose differently. He increased savings, maintained his budget, avoided unnecessary upgrades. That decision was small, but powerful, because it prevented him from repeating old patterns. Now, Mark started thinking differently, not just about this month, but about the future. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and for the first time, his actions aligned with that vision. One day, a colleague approached him. "I'm struggling with money. I don't know where to start." Mark smiled. He didn't give complex advice. He simply said, "Start with awareness, then build consistency." What Mark didn't realize was that his behavior was influencing others, not through words, but through example. If you're watching this right now, ask yourself, are you chasing quick results or building habits that create long-term change? Because that choice defines everything. By the end of week 4, Mark's life looked similar on the outside. Same job, same routine, same environment, but internally, everything had changed. He had awareness, structure, confidence, direction, and that was the foundation for real growth. Mark didn't become wealthy, but he became something more important, in control of his decisions. And once you reach that point, growth becomes inevitable. By the end of the first month, Mark's life had found a rhythm. Nothing dramatic, Nothing extreme, but consistent. He followed his 10 times 3 routine daily: morning clarity, afternoon awareness, night reflection. His finances weren't perfect, but they were no longer chaotic. And that stability felt new. But life has a way of testing progress, because stability is often followed by disruption. And one morning, that disruption arrived. It started with something small, a strange issue with his car. At first, he ignored it, but within days, it became unavoidable. A mechanic visit confirmed it, a major repair, costly, unplanned, and suddenly, Mark felt that familiar pressure return. Tension, stress, uncertainty. For a moment, it felt like everything had gone backwards. All the effort, all the discipline, and now this was the real test. Not when things were easy, but when something went wrong, because this is where old habits usually return. That evening, Mark sat quietly. He didn't rush, didn't panic. He simply paused. And in that pause, something familiar appeared. His statement: "I make thoughtful financial decisions that support my future." Instead of reacting emotionally, he followed a process. 1. Understand the cost. 2. Review his savings. 3. Adjust upcoming expenses. 4. Plan the payment. Simple, logical, controlled. The situation hadn't changed. The expense was still there, but his response was completely different. And that's what mattered. For the first time, Mark used his savings for something meaningful, not for spending, but for protection. And in that moment, he understood something deeply. Savings are not just money, they are stability. After paying for the repair, his savings dropped significantly, and for a moment, it felt like loss. Months of discipline reduced. That night, his mind started speaking again. What's the point? You'll never get ahead. Something always goes wrong. These thoughts were familiar because setbacks trigger old beliefs. Mark had 2 choices. 1. Return to old habit. 2. Stay consistent. This moment was more important than any technique, because growth is defined here. The next morning, he didn't feel motivated, didn't feel positive, but he opened his notebook anyway and wrote 10 times. Morning, then again, afternoon, then again, night. Not because it felt good, but because it mattered. Consistency during difficulty builds identity. Mark was no longer someone trying to improve. He was becoming someone who stays consistent. And that identity is permanent. Over the next few weeks, he returned to basics: controlled spending, consistent saving, clear planning. Nothing new, just repetition. And slowly, his savings began to rebuild. But this time, it felt different, because now he had experienced a setback and recovered from it. That builds confidence. Mark realized something important. Stability is not about avoiding problems. It's about handling them effectively. Because problems will always exist, but panic is optional. Just as things stabilized again, another challenge appeared. This time, not financial, social. Friends planned a weekend trip. Exciting, relaxing, expensive. Mark wanted to go, but he also knew it would affect his budget. Old thinking: just go, figure it out later. New thinking: can I manage this responsibly? He paused, reviewed his finances. adjusted his budget, reduced spending in other areas, and made a decision. He went on the trip, but without guilt. Because it was planned, this was not restriction, it was balance. Mark's mindset had evolved. Impulse awareness, reaction decision, stress control, and that transformation was real. Think about your own life. When challenges appear, do you react instantly? Or do you pause and decide? Because that pause changes outcomes. Most people stay disciplined when life is easy. Few people stay consistent when life gets difficult. Mark became one of those few. His confidence was no longer based on success. It was based on experience. He had faced pressure, managed it, recovered. And that is real confidence. One evening, he reflected on his journey from confusion, stress, uncertainty, to awareness, structure, control. The difference was undeniable. Mark didn't avoid problems. He learned how to handle them. And once you learn that, you stop fearing setbacks because you know you can recover. By the time Mark entered his second month, something subtle but powerful had changed. He was no longer focused on just getting through the month. Instead, he started thinking beyond it, not in days, not in weeks, but in months and even years. And that shift marked the beginning of something deeper. One quiet evening, Mark sat with his notebook. He didn't open his banking app, didn't check his expenses. Instead, he asked himself a question. What does financial stability look like for me long term? Not what others defined, but what he truly needed. Earlier, wealth meant more money, more comfort, more freedom. Now, his definition had evolved. Wealth meant peace of mind, predictable stability, confidence in decisions, not luxury, but control. That night, Mark refined his 10 times 3 statements. Morning, 10 times. I manage my money wisely and consistently build savings. Afternoon, 10 times. I grow my income through responsible and continuous effort. Night, 10 times. I make decisions today that support my long-term financial stability. Each statement now served a purpose: present control, future growth, long-term vision. Most people focus on immediate comfort, but Mark had learned short-term comfort often creates long-term stress, and long-term thinking creates stability. Instead of chasing big changes, Mark focused on small actions, daily, repeated, consistent, saving a little, spending mindfully, planning ahead, because he now understood big results come from small, repeated behaviors. Mark became curious about growing his money, but this time, he didn't rush. He avoided quick profit ideas, unrealistic claims, unverified opportunities. Instead, he focused on learning, understanding basics, exploring safe, general options, and most importantly, not acting blindly. He realized something important. Information alone is not useful. Applied knowledge is what creates results. So he stayed patient, learning slowly, applying carefully. At this stage, discipline was no longer difficult. It had become natural because it was built over time, not forced, not rushed, just repeated daily. Mark began making decisions differently, not based on what do I want right now, but what will benefit me later. And that one change created space for growth. For the first time, Mark felt something new: control, not over everything, but over his decisions, and that feeling reduced stress significantly. His external life hadn't changed dramatically. Same job, same environment, but internally, everything felt calmer because clarity removes confusion, and confusion is often the source of stress. As people noticed the change, they started asking questions. What are you doing differently? Mark didn't claim expertise. He didn't promise results. He simply shared, "I became more aware of my decisions." Mark understood something clearly now. Financial growth must be responsible, ethical, legal, because anything else creates risk. And risk without understanding leads to loss. Mark's thinking had evolved to a new level. Before, can I afford this? Now, does this align with my long-term goals? That question filtered every decision. Mark still made mistakes, occasional overspending, small misjudgments, but he didn't stop because he understood consistency matters more than perfection. Instead of relying on motivation, he built a system: 10 times 3 daily writing, weekly expense review, monthly planning. Simple, repeatable, effective. Routine removed decision fatigue. He didn't have to think every time. He followed a structure, and that structure created stability. His confidence was no longer based on outcomes. It was based on process, because he trusted his system, and that trust is powerful. For the first time, Mark felt comfortable thinking about the future, not with fear, but with clarity. He knew what he was doing, why he was doing it, where it was leading. At this stage, Mark fully understood the technique. It wasn't about writing. It was about training attention, building awareness, reinforcing discipline. The writing was just a tool. The transformation was internal. If you're still watching, ask yourself, are you making decisions based on today or building something for tomorrow? Because that choice defines your future. Mark wasn't finished, but he had reached a new level. He was no longer confused, reactive, uncertain. He was aware, structured, intentional, and that foundation was strong. Mark didn't chase wealth. He built habits, and those habits were building his future. One evening, Mark sat by his window. The city lights stretched across Sydney. Cars moved, people rushed. Life continued, but inside, everything felt different. For the first time in a long time, his mind was quiet. No constant financial stress, no silent pressure, no confusion, just clarity. He picked up his notebook, the same one he had started with. The early pages were filled with effort, repetition, uncertainty, lines written without belief, words that once felt forced. But as he flipped through, the writing changed. It became clearer, more confident, more intentional. And that's when he realized the biggest change wasn't his money, it was his thinking. At the beginning, Mark believed he needed more money, but now he understood something deeper. What he really needed was awareness, structure, discipline, because without those, even more money wouldn't have helped. He leaned back and thought, what does wealth actually mean? The answer was no longer about numbers. It was about stability, control, peace of mind. And for the first time, he felt like he was building it. Earlier, Mark saw himself as someone trying to fix his finances. Now, he saw himself differently, someone who understands his decisions. That identity shift was permanent because once you understand your patterns, you stop repeating them unconsciously. At this stage, the 10 times 3 technique was no longer a task. It had become part of his routine. Morning writing felt like clarity. Afternoon writing felt like awareness. Night writing felt like reflection. It grounded him. Without even trying, Mark now thought before spending, planned before deciding, reflected before reacting. And that behavior created consistency. As people continued noticing his change, they asked, "What's your secret?" Mark didn't claim anything extraordinary. He didn't promise results. He simply said, "I started paying attention to my decisions." Slowly, those around him began making small changes. Tracking expenses, thinking before spending, becoming more aware. Mark realized change spreads through example, not explanation. One day, an opportunity came his way, a chance to increase his income further, but it required more time, more effort, more responsibility. Earlier, he would have rushed into the decision, but now he paused. He asked himself, does this align with my long-term direction? Can I manage this responsibly? After thinking carefully, he made a decision, not based on emotion, not based on pressure, but based on clarity. That moment proved something powerful. He was no longer reacting to life. He was responding to it. And that ability is more valuable than any shortcut. Looking back, Mark finally understood the technique. It didn't create instant wealth, guarantee success, replace effort. What it did was focus attention, reinforce awareness, build discipline. And those 3 things changed everything. If Mark could go back, he would say one thing: stop looking for quick results. Start building consistent habits. Because habits create outcomes, not the other way around. Mark's life wasn't dramatically different on the outside. He didn't suddenly become wealthy. He didn't live a luxury lifestyle. But internally, everything had changed. He had financial clarity, emotional stability, confidence in decisions, and that was real progress. Now, Mark thought differently, not in short bursts, but in long-term direction. Every decision aligned with a bigger picture, and that gave his actions meaning. As he closed his notebook one last time, Mark smiled because he understood something simple but powerful. Money doesn't change your life. Your behavior with money does. If you've watched this entire story, here's the truth. There is no shortcut. There is no instant solution. There is no guaranteed outcome. But there is something more powerful. Your daily actions, your habits, your decisions. The 10 times 3 manifestation technique is not magic. It is a tool, a way to bring awareness into your life, a way to slow down and think clearly, a way to choose instead of react. If you want to try this, start simple. Choose one clear statement. Write it 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the afternoon, 10 times at night. Stay consistent, and most importantly, match it with action. Because real change doesn't come from writing alone. It comes from what you do after. Thank you for watching till the end. It truly means a lot. And if you found value here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who could benefit from it too. You never know whose mindset you might help shift. Before you go, remember this: Small actions, repeated daily, create powerful results over time.